Hey everyone, welcome back to Age and Education channel. Today we shall look into the chapter Respiration in Organisms. So before we try to understand the meaning of this word respiration, it is very important to know that every organism is made up of small microscopic units called cells, right? And these cells are considered to be the smallest structural and functional units of the body. It means that every cell has its own function or work to perform, right? So for the cell to perform the function, what do you think it needs? Yes, you are in the right path. If you want to do some work, you need energy. In the same manner, if the cell has to do some work as a part of its function, it should also need some energy. So where will the cell get the energy from? That is the point, right? So when the cells get energy, only then they can perform the functions that are relevant to it, and only then the organism can function as a whole, right? So it is very important that some energy is always supplied to cell. So how does this happen? Yes, I know everyone will be saying because we eat some food, right? So, but what happens here? You are right that we eat the food, and with this food the cells will get energy. But what is the process involved here? What is the way that energy is derived from this food? It is that this food will get oxidized. What is it? This food will get oxidized, and only then we get energy, or the cells are supplied with the energy. So how does this happen? How is oxidization of food happen? Just think, when I say oxidation, then something is clicking in your mind, right? What is it? Oxygen, right? So your body needs oxygen, and only then with using this oxygen the food can be oxidized and we get energy, right? So how is this oxygen obtained by the body? Yes, you all know, by inhalation of air, right? And the popular notion, or we all know, whenever we say this term respiration, we always say respiration means inhalation and exhalation, right? So inhalation of oxygen as such, and exhalation of carbon dioxide, right? But apart from that, that is the preliminary process. But the complete process is that after the oxygen enters the body, there will also be cellular respiration, right? Cellular respiration, are also called as internal respiration. So the respiration process involves two aspects, two main processes, right? What are those processes? First is that external respiration, right? What is external respiration? You all know that, right? So we take in oxygen and we give out carbon dioxide. That is called as external respiration. And the other process is called as internal respiration or cellular respiration. And that I have just mentioned to you, right? What is done here? It is that the food inside the cells, what is it? The food inside the cells will get the oxygen, right? And this oxygen is used to oxidize the food so that energy is obtained for the cell to perform its functions, right? We will look into these concepts in greater detail, but bear with me. I'm just like giving some reference to everything so that you'll get an overall idea. Okay, so now we will get into actual definition of respiration, and we will look into these concepts further, right? So if we have to go into details of respiration, or if you want to first of all define what is respiration, then we can say that it is a biochemical process. What is it? It is a biochemical process which takes place inside the cells, within the cells of the organisms. And here what happens is that here breakdown of food, what is it? Breaking down of food in the presence of oxygen to derive the energy, right? The presence of oxygen to derive the energy, right? So here if we have to tell in toto, we can say that respiration is a biochemical process where the cells break down the food in the presence of oxygen to derive the energy, right? And as I have mentioned here, what we want oxygen, right? So respiration, overall respiration means the cells obtaining energy, right? But for this to take place, the process of respiration can be divided into two main processes, right? What are those? Breathing or external respiration. What is it? Breathing. We popularly say this, right? Breathing. It's so common. Even kids will say that. Breathing, right? So it is also called as external respiration. And what does this involve? I have already mentioned earlier. It is just inhalation of air. Air means inhalation of oxygen as such. What our body needs is oxygen, right? So inhalation of oxygen and exhalation of carbon dioxide, right? This process is called as breathing, and as you can see, it is a purely physical process, right? Physical process. Now, what is the next stage? So this is the first step in the process. Then what is the second step in the process? It is called as cellular respiration or internal respiration. So here what happens? Yes, our body is already now has sufficient oxygen, right? Now what happens here? This oxygen will be sent to every cell, right? And here in the cell, what happens? First of all, it has what do you call? First of all, it is a chemical process, right? So in the cell, what happens? Breaking down of food takes place, right? Breaking down of food. And this happens using what? Using the oxygen. Then what happens? Breaking down of food using the oxygen gives energy, right? So in this way, energy is produced within the cells, right? Within the cells, and this is called as internal respiration, right? So this is about the entire process of respiration. Now here, if we get into details, there are so many other details too, right? You can get to know as how this physical process of breathing happens and how this chemical process happens, then how the energy is produced. You can get into as much details as you want, right? We will get into further details after a few moments, but first of all we shall see the actual equation of production of energy, right? All right, now if we have to look at the overall equation of this process of respiration, then we can say C6H12O6. It means glucose. What is this glucose? When we are saying that the food is oxidized, what we actually mean is glucose, right? So when this glucose is oxidized, or if it reacts with oxygen, right? 6 molecules of oxygen, what we get is 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, right? 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water plus what? Yes, not to forget energy, right? For this energy itself, we are eating the food, right? So to obtain the energy from the food converted into glucose, and only if it reacts with oxygen we get the energy that we want, right? And this energy is stored in ATP molecule, right? Okay, So what we are saying here, the glucose is reacting with oxygen and we are getting carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide is exhaled, right? And how are we getting this oxygen? Through inhalation. That is, from the process of breathing, we inhale oxygen, and with the process of breathing itself, we exhale the carbon dioxide and we get the water and the energy for the cell to function properly, right? So when we are talking now about this oxygen, right, we are saying that oxygen is needed for the breakdown of glucose. Then is something like, are you feeling like, is there any process of respiration that actually doesn't involve oxygen? Yes, there is also some other process of respiration which does not involve oxygen, right? So what is this type of respiration? We can say that there are two types of respiration. What are those? One is aerobic respiration. What is it? Aerobic respiration, and the other is anaerobic respiration. Okay, sorry, anaerobic respiration. So when we are saying aerobic respiration, it is the respiration that we talked till now. What is it? It is the respiration where oxygen is involved, right? And the organisms that use oxygen for respiration are called as aerobes. And it is the most common thing in animals and plants. This sort of respiration where the glucose reacts with oxygen to give carbon dioxide, water and energy is the most common respiration that you can see in almost all plants and animals, right? Alright, then how about anaerobic respiration? We have said that most of the plants and animals will show aerobic respiration. Then how about anaerobic respiration? Yes, there are some organisms called as anaerobes. What are those? These are aerobes and these are anaerobes, right? These sort of organisms will have this process of respiration done without the presence of oxygen, right? And what are these organisms? Like yeast and some bacteria, right? And some other organisms can be considered to be anaerobes, right? So what happens here? Here, as there is no oxygen, the glucose that is there here, that needs to be broken down, right? So this glucose, it can't break totally, right? It only partially breaks into what? Carbon dioxide and ethyl alcohol, right? So when we say we take glucose here and there is no oxygen here, right? And what happens in the absence of oxygen? What we get is ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide and energy. And what we are seeing here is partial breakdown of glucose, right? As the oxygen is not present, what we are seeing here is partial breakdown of glucose. And with this, you can easily say that the energy released here will be definitely less as compared to the energy released in aerobic respiration, right? So when I am saying that this anaerobic respiration can be seen in yeast, bacteria and some other organisms, do you feel like, do you want to ask the question as, can this be seen in human beings? Yes, in some instances you can see anaerobic respiration in humans too. When will this happen? This happens when a person exercises a lot. Then in that extreme contraction of the muscle happens because of that intense exercise, and during this process lactic acid is released. What is it? Lactic acid. Then as it is an acid, yes, you will get hurt, right? So the only way to get rid of this intense discomfort is you just have to sit, breathe in, like inhale the air so that enough oxygen reaches the muscle tissue and everything will be sorted out, right? So we can also see this anaerobic respiration in human beings, but it is very less, okay, and it occurs like in some situations where that sort of vigorous exercises and lack of oxygen reaching that part happens, okay. Now this is with regard to the types of respiration, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Now when I am saying respiration, it means in the first process of respiration, what is happening? We are breathing in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. So how is this happening? How are we breathing in oxygen and giving the carbon dioxide? What is the mechanism? See, human beings have some sort of mechanism and different types of animals have different types of mechanisms, right? So in human being we have lungs. We breathe through our nose, through the nostrils the air enters and it will pass through a well laid structure in the human body and it will reach the lungs where the exchange of gases takes place, and we can say that the breathing part of the respiration is done, right? Now, is this process same in every organism? No, this is not same in every organism. In animals it will be different, like you can say some animals breathe through their moist skin and some animals use their gills, right? And so there are different ways of this respiration being done in different type of organisms, and we will look into some of the examples too, right? We will get into first human respiratory system and then we shall look into the rest of the animals, right? Some of the important structures that are present in those animals, we will look into all these in this chapter of respiration, okay? So first of all we shall look into what? Human respiratory system, right? I hope till here everything is fine, right? And the important thing that I want to mention here, don't forget, the energy released in aerobic respiration is very much more than the energy released in anaerobic respiration. And here we get in anaerobic respiration, what we get is ethyl alcohol, right? Ethyl alcohol plus carbon dioxide and energy. And because of this, when this anaerobic respiration happens in the human being, the muscles will lack the oxygen, and because of this anaerobic respiration that happens, lactic acid gets produced and there will be a lot of pain, and the only way for this pain to reside is you have to recede is you will have to do what? Yes, you will have to breathe more of oxygen, okay? Now let us get into human respiratory system. All right, now we shall look into human respiratory system, but in this video I'll just introduce you to this concept of human respiratory system, and I'll continue further in the next video, as we are already like nearing to 20 minutes and I don't think you will be able to receive everything of this in this video, okay? So the respiratory system consists of nostrils, and the air we take in will be through nostrils, and the air passes through the nasal passage into the pharynx, and then you will have larynx and then trachea, and then through the bronchus, the left main bronchus and right main bronchus, the air will enter the lungs, right? And these lungs are protected in a rib cage, and this is called the diaphragm. And here this pharynx is the common part where, like for oral cavity and also for nasal passage, right? So the air and the food both will enter and pass through the pharynx, okay? And there will be larynx here, also called as what? Do you remember what is larynx called as? Tell me. It's called as voice box, right? So there will be voice box here, and there will be trachea, also called as windpipe, right? What is it? Also called as windpipe. Okay, so this is about the just an overview of human respiratory system, and we will know about this further in the next class. Okay, I hope everyone got everything, and if at all you like the video, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video, right? Thank you. See you. Bye.